Welcome to another inspiring episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast, hosted by me, Phil Better, the podcast mogul. Today, we have an exceptional guest whose journey epitomizes the resilience, dedication, and passion for helping others achieve their dreams. This guest is a testament to the power of perseverance and the impact of aligning one's business with personal values. From a young age, our guest's entrepreneurial spirit was evident, finding creative ways to generate income and vowing to create a different life from the conventional financial struggles observed in her childhood. Despite the early challenges of balancing a career with motherhood, our guest successfully carved out a path that allowed her to present her children with a different way of building a thriving business. With over 15 years as a stay-at-home mom, she's discovered her true calling in life coaching. She didn't just dip her toes in, she fully immersed herself, becoming certified and then master certified, ultimately building a six-figure coaching business from the ground up. Her dedication didn't just stop there. She's authored the best-selling book, The Happy Mom Mindset, and scaled an online program to an impressive 7 figures. What makes her story even more remarkable is her commitment to leading with a superior service and staying true to her personal values, a philosophy that has driven her success. Now, she's here to share her journey, insights, and practical advice on how you can harness your gift to create a business and a life you love. Please, listeners, get ready to welcome the incredible Molly Claire. Molly, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you. That was a fantastic introduction. I'm excited to meet me now.
Exactly. As my audience knows and longtime listeners know, I look at myself as an MC for like rap stars because that's always what I wanted to be on the stage, hyping up someone and then walking away, letting the stars, run and just every once in a while popping in. So I look at this. You are the star. I am the MC. We're here to figure out all the amazingness that you have done because you're a stay-at-home mom and you created an empire. Or you have an empire in the making for your kids. So we're going to start with the very, very simple question that I ask all my entrepreneurs. Why? Why did you become an entrepreneur and throw off those shackles of the 9 to 5 lifestyle?
Well, you had spoken about this just briefly in the introduction, but I will say that I have always had that entrepreneurial spirit in me. It's always been there. And I mean, truly, as a kid, I had these flyers made up with all my services, and I would go to my neighbors. I still have a copy of this flyer.
Oh, I love it. You need to get that like put it into a poster and just have it on your wall.
Right. And I was a nanny at a very young age. I mean, I always had that spirit in me. And one of the things that as a kid, as I thought about what I wanted in my life ahead, there was something about being a mom for me that was always really exciting to me. And I know not all women feel that way. I know we have this idea that all women feel that way, but actually, women feel very differently about it, as we should, right? But for me, that was always at the forefront of my mind. I wanted to, like, being present with my kids as a mom was something that was always important to me. And I always knew that I wanted to have some kind of business. So that was always there. Well, fast forward, I finished college. I'm in my career in PR. I get married. We have kids, and I decided to be a stay-at-home mom. And I dabbled in things along the way, right? I did a few different things, but it was when my oldest was just entering his teens that I went through. And stop me here because I okay.
Go.
I'll just keep going.
Just keep going. I'll stop you when I feel I need to stop you. But
Okay.
this is interesting because there's someone who could be going through something similar you are, and they need to hear this. And this is why I asked this question.
Yes. And I think especially because, as women especially, we can feel very torn between our family life and our aspirations in our career. It's really challenging. And this is part of my message, right? That will come out in all of this is that you can have both, and it's different than doing it all. We can revisit that and talk about it. But so essentially, I was at a place in my life where I was actually not in a great place. I had my kids. I had actually been hit with chronic fatigue syndrome pretty badly that came out of the blue. I've always been a super high energy person, up early in the morning, active, involved, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And so I was healing from chronic fatigue, and my marriage was also struggling. So I was in this place where it was not a great moment in time for me. But something magical happened, and that is that I had an opportunity to have a coaching session with someone who was finishing their certification and they needed practice. And I will tell you that I still remember to this day where I was standing when I had this coaching session. I was on the phone, I was on my back porch, I was pacing on this call, and the way that she worked with me, it was as if time stopped and I was able to see things about my past in a completely different way than I ever had. And it blew my mind. And it was like this moment where I knew I want to be a part of this. I know I need to do this. There's something about this process. And when the timing is right, I'm going to do it. Well, a couple months later, I got an email from the life coach school where she had trained that they were offering one more training that year. The founder herself was teaching it. So here I was doing better, but I was still healing from chronic fatigue, right? I had the kids. It was like, this isn't the right timing, but I was going to do it anyway. So I dive right in. And essentially, once I did, there was really no going back. I immersed myself in it. I learned everything I could, and I launched my business and just went full force. And so that was how it began. And then, of course, as I ended up going through a divorce, which was a lot to deal with, but it really pushed me to this place of, okay, not only do I love this, not only do I have a heart for this, but I am going to build this business so that I can be present and available to my kids. Over my dead body, am I going to be, working, morning till night, away from my kids, over stressed out? And over my dead body, am I going to be worried about money for the rest of my life like my mom was? And so I built a business, had no idea what I was doing. I knew coaching was my thing. I knew I wanted to have a business, and I figured it all out. And I made that commitment to honor the time I wanted to be available to my kids, which meant being healthy and well so I could be present with them and making the money that I needed to provide. And that's it. It begins with a decision.
Everything begins with a decision. We have a whole bunch of choices in life, and the decisions we make push us through. And I love how you made the conscious choice. You're like, I want to be there for my kids. I want to be there. I want to become a better version of who I am for my kids. And you took the risk. You jumped fully into it, became like a master certified coach. Like, that's insane. Most people just get like the baby certification. No, you're like, nah, going full bore. I want to be the boss of bosses here. Um, with everything that was going on, like you said, you had your kids, you had this illness, you're dealing with the fun parts of a divorce, which never, only in fantasies do they come very simple, that both couples like, okay, cool, split, everybody's happy, everybody's go lucky. Those are only in fantasies. You're dealing with that joy, plus the stresses that come with that. With building a new business, I want to know, because personally, I'm pretty sure I know what my friends and family would think if I told them I'm launching a business and I had all that dealing. I want to know what the reactions you received from those like your kids. Obviously, we're not going to talk about your ex-partner. We don't care about them. I want to know what your family said, your close like the people that
Mhm,
you had as your core. What were they
mhm,
saying when you said, "Hey, I'm launching a coaching business"?
mhm. So this is an interesting question because I know from working with so many coaches, my clients, helping them, that this can be a thing where there is a lot of naysayers, a lot of get your head out of the clouds. I have to be honest that I did not experience that. And maybe it's just because I really didn't even allow it in. It's like when I think back, I'm like, I don't, I mean, I just didn't experience it. But keep in mind that maybe because I've always been very determined, maybe people, I don't know what it is.
Maybe
I
they were
don't know.
just so scared to tell you, like, no, you can't do this because you would jump down their throat. I don't know, but I'm happy to hear that you didn't have that negativity that some of us, some others
And,
have had faced.
okay, and here's what I'll say. It might be that I'm a little oblivious.
That's a
Because
very
I
key
mean,
thing I found in entrepreneurship. Being don't know what you don't know is
it's
very key.
true. Like I'll give you an example, right? So I built my coaching business and now what I do is I offer this holistic master coach certification for coaches because I am really passionate about being great as a coach because it makes a difference. So, and one of the things that I've experienced along the way is a lot of people having a lot of thoughts and feelings of being embarrassed about the idea of a life coach. And it's like I didn't ever worry about it. I didn't ever care about it. And so that never impacted me. Right. And it's funny because I had one client I remember who got a lot of pushback from her husband, who was a lawyer. And I said, well, there are a lot of jokes about lawyers. I think there are more jokes about attorneys than there are life coaches. So there's that. So I say this in jest, but in truth, like I will say there's something about me where I don't worry so much about what other people think or what their perspective is. I just assume positive intent a lot. And so sometimes I think I'm kind of oblivious to all of that. And thank goodness because it serves me well.
Listen, you built a seven-figure business. Like,
Be a
apparently
little
you
oblivious, right?
apparently not seeing stuff works for you. So I'm very happy with that.
And I want to just say one more thing about this. And this is the thing. It's like if anyone has pushback or anyone has an opinion, are they going to be the ones to be present with my kids? Are they going to be the ones to pay my bills? I don't think so. And so it's like if I'm the one in charge of being the CEO of my life and myself and my kids and all of it, then guess what? That's what needs to lead me. And if someone else has something to say about it, then they're welcome to make a donation and help out. But otherwise, let's go.
Are you
Right?
donating your time, money, or your energy into this endeavor for my life?
Yeah,
No, thank you, goodbye. Thank you, next, as Ariana Grande says.
that's right.
Um, I I love it. Now that that's there, someone searching it may pop up onto this episode, which I love. Um, I'm curious with everything you're doing. Like you didn't know what you didn't know going into business, unless you already had built seven-figure businesses and you weren't telling us.
Unless it
Um,
was in my past life.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, my past life didn't provide that information to me. They were like, "Good luck, I can swing a sword." But with going to build your coaching business to a six figure and then shifting goals, going from like nearly one-on-one coaching, which is mainly personal health life coaching, to building this seven figure empire.
Hmm.
What skills did you need to upgrade
Hmm.
to become into that role? Because it's a very different role of being a CEO for a one person company, or like you have VAs but you don't have solid employees like you probably
Yes.
now do. You have people working full time and you're like, oh oh shoot, I am now required to take care of these individuals because they are now my kids, if you will, because you're
Yeah.
building a family as a business. What were the skills that you needed to upgrade?
Well, how long is this podcast?
We got about 30 minutes to go along. Like, so we got 30 minutes,
We need a
or
lot more time. No, I'm joking because I mean, in truth, when you're building a business, and it depends on the type of business, right? But when I'm thinking about my business and my coaches, you have so many skills to learn at once that it can be overwhelming. And I think one of the keys is to never allow yourself to get overwhelmed. Be where you are and figure out what are the most important basic skills that I need to learn first. And one of the things, because I mean at a high level and simple answer to your question, what skills did I need to learn? Well, I needed to sharpen and deepen my coaching skills so I could be great at it. I need to figure out marketing, which encompasses quite a few skills to say the least, right? Sales, your books, and not to mention, how about this? Not to mention all the fears and anxiety and doubt that comes up inside of you that you have got to face in order to build that business. And so, there is a pile of skills to learn. But what I'll say is, and this is my advice to anyone listening to this, is I think the biggest secret to my success and staying the course is that I truly did raise my hand and say, yes, I'm in to every opportunity. Because I knew that I had a lot of skills to learn, and I knew that I wanted to be the best. I was serious about it. And so I finished my certification and I went all in on my business. What do I need to do? I'm going to do it. I want to do master coach training. Okay, now I can volunteer to start training other coaches and creating curriculum. Yes, I want to do it. So as I was building my own personal business where I was doing one-to-one coaching and then group coaching, I was simultaneously doing contract work that was helping others. And so what this allowed me to do is, first of all, it allowed me the opportunity to work with hundreds and then thousands of coaches as they're sharpening their skills to understand exactly what was missing and what they needed, right? Which has lent itself to my current skill set. So not only was it deepening my ability to help them, but and also that I had a view on the challenges they were experiencing as they were building their business, but it also allowed me to be in this other business and see exactly what was happening as they were building, as they were scaling. And so I think that especially if you're a solopreneur, if you're just starting from scratch, don't think you can do it on your own, because it is way too hard to do it. And you are going to get much further by having a mentor, having great training, and just diving in and being immersed and wanting to just soak in and learn everything you can. That's like the fastest way to move you forward through the skills that you have to learn.
It's true. Without a mentor, you're hitting every pothole on the highway to success. And let me tell you, some of those potholes can be very expensive if you've ever had to replace a
Exactly.
tire. People know exactly what I'm talking about. With seeing both sides of the business. You're building your coaching business, so you're going through the same struggles that these coaches are that you're now coaching. These coaches are
Mhm.
going through, and they're able to say, "Hey, I just actually had that problem. This is how I solved it." Sharpening them, they sharpening you, because iron sharpens iron. What do you do on a daily basis that is an investment into yourself?
Mm. So much. I mean, honestly, so much, because, especially in the work that I do where I'm training coaches, and I know that the word coach covers so many things, but my definition of a coach and the coaches that I train are people who are understanding how mindset, emotions, and the nervous system and action patterns all fit together. So the work my coaches are doing are like a deep dive with their clients to help their clients completely transform from the inside out. So if I'm teaching my clients to do that, what that means is I have to help my clients do that. And if I'm helping my clients do that, what that means is I have to be on the cutting edge of doing that all the time for me. So I have currently, and it varies, but currently I have a business coach that I work with. And I have an EFT practitioner that I work with who is so gifted, and I've brought her into my programs. And I do my emotion work with her. And I'm always looking at what's holding me back and how do I move past this. And then even on the daily basis, because it's like I'm the CEO of my business, right? I care for all my clients. I have it's a very high touch program and work that I do. So I know them well. So I'm taking care of them. I'm taking care of the kids, even though two of them are now grown, right? The house. I am all of it. And so it's like, okay, the airplane mask analogy. They say put your own mask on first. I have to have a really big mask on to be able to hold everything up. So I do. So I have my business coach. I have my EFT practitioner. I do other training programs. Exercising. I have a journaling regimen. I do sauna and cold plunge regimen. Like I do all the things. I really do. Because if I am not well, I can't help anyone.
It's true.
It's really true. It's really, really true. And I have a teenage daughter, and you need to be sharp.
I don't even have a teenage daughter, and I've just seen it on TV. They are
She
special.
is, she is just, she just has this fire and this heart in her. And, you know, in those teenage years, their brain just goes haywire, and their emotions go haywire. And so here she is, like, I honestly feel like I feel so lucky, and what an honor that I've been able to learn what I have and be in a place where I am, so that as her brain is going haywire and her emotions are up and down and she's just trying to figure herself out, I can be still and steady for her. Like, what a gift. What better thing can we give our kids than being still and steady for them, honestly?
True. I
So,
love that. It's very true. We need that. You for certain people, you have to have your rock. You have to have the rock that you can cling to during the storms of life, and you know you'll be safe. And it's great when it is your parent, because just means
yeah.
they're still there in your life. Um, I kind of want to know. I'm a voracious book reader. I love books, be them audiobooks, physical books
Mhm.
on the Kindle, whatever it is. I devour books because I have too much free time on my hand. When you're a podcaster, you know, that's all you have is time. I want to know, what book or books do you repeatedly go back to that are kind of like maybe once a year read or once a quarter type reads, that you're like, every time I read this, I find something new, even though it's the billionth time I've read it?
Mhm. So, this is probably not a normal book that would come up in answer to this question, but the book is called Running on Empty: Overcoming Your Childhood Emotional Neglect by Jonas Webb. And the reason this book, because we might think, oh, well, I don't have emotional childhood neglect, or what does that even mean?
I laugh at those people.
Okay.
I laugh at your face, sir. Or madam.
um, because this book, it specifically speaks to, you know, it has some specific examples of where childhood neglect or emotional neglect can come into play, right? And it shows different parent scenarios and all of that. And then it talks in depth about the implications of it. But even if you don't have any of those situations, in my experience working with clients, both at a personal level and helping them with their clients, we as a society are so disconnected from our own emotions. And it is perhaps, not perhaps, it is one of the biggest problems that all of us have, and we just don't know it. Because what happens is, I know this is getting off on a little bit of a tangent, but I'm telling you, this book, like it's an incredible book. And by the way, if Jonas Webb hears this, I want her on my podcast, and I've been trying to get her on my podcast, and I mean, her work is phenomenal. And so it's kind of like, anytime a child has an emotional need, big emotions they're struggling with, and they don't have the support for it, there is this little drop of this emotional neglect, this hole there. Now, how many people listening to this can't relate to that happening? It happens to everyone, right? In varying degrees. And the problem is that, like, especially in past generations, we've never been taught what to even do with emotions. And so we do things like, don't cry, you know, look on the bright side. We do these kind of things.
Suck it up.
Right. And the problem is that um that if there is an emotional need, it cannot be solved or met with a cognitive or thought solution. Period. So I know this is like getting off on a thing.
I love this. I thoroughly love this. I also I studied psychology a bit in university, so I have this like innate need to understand the mind, and emotional childhood emotional neglect is something that is very interesting to me, because I believe that we all have that 7-year-old inside of us that we need to keep nurtured, and we have to
Yes.
heal. So I
And I
love
mean,
this.
and I'll make this, just because I know we can't dive deep into this, but everyone should get the book, and then Jonas should like come on my
Of
podcast and everything.
course.
But here's what I'll say, just like in the quick to show the relevance of this. So let's imagine that we spend our whole life trying to outthink our emotions, trying to outrun our emotions, and we don't actually attend to them in the way they need. And I realize nobody knows what that means, but you can come hire some of my coaches because they're fantastic and can help you, or you can read the book. But anyway, if we're doing that, here's what happens. If we are always shutting down our emotions, we tend to have more of a dysregulated, like emotional dysregulation, where our nervous system is dysregulated. How many people are walking around right now, overworking, overstressing? We're all ramped up, right? We're running on
Empty.
cortisol, well, on empty, right? And the problem with this is that when we are constantly going to this asympathetic nervous system state where it's like fight or flight, overworking, stressing out, we aren't present. We are aging ourselves. We are exhausting ourselves. We can't be a great parent. We can't be great at business. We can't be great with our partner. It sabotages everything. And so it's like when I think everyone, when we can have a better understanding of our own emotions and of our own needs, and we can understand how to take care of that, just like we think it's important to take care of the body with water and exercise and all these things, right? When we can understand that, what happens is we can have a more peaceful life. We can have greater emotional regulation. And what this means is that we are able to truly show up and be there for people in our lives. And I mean, come on, think about how much better this world would be if that were possible for all of us.
Oh, 100%. 100%. The more we're there for the young, they're just going to keep going and keeping that emotional intelligence increasing, which we need more of. Because we have regular intelligence, we need a bit more emotional intelligence in this world, and more life coaches to help us regulate that. And that book is definitely going to be on my to-read list of 2025, and probably for the rest of my life.
It's
I
good.
want to. You dropped that you have a podcast, so we're going to touch on your podcast. First of all, what is the name of your podcast?
It is the Masterful Coach Podcast with Molly Claire, and it is obviously the Masterful Coach Podcast, and we talk about coaching skill mastery, business, and ideal life and business balance.
I love that. And what made you decide? Because obviously, a lot of people hear the Joe Rogan story that inspired them to get the $100 million offer. What spurred you to go down the podcasting route? Because you don't feel like you don't feel like someone who's running for the money when it comes to podcasting, because you're looking to upskill people. So what was it about podcasting that made you want to start one?
I mean, I wanted to have a platform to be regularly delivering content to help people get to know more about the work that I do and to learn from it. And so it's really a place where, like this last weekend, I spoke at a conference, and, some of the people that ended up signing up to have a call with me, they're like, I listened to these podcasts and this really helped me. And this is what I learned. And so that really is my main reason behind it, is to just help people understand more about the work and know if they want to be a part of it.
I love it. It's great. We'll definitely have the link to the podcast in the show notes. But we are coming to the end of the episode, and Molly, I despise it because I'm having such a great time with you. Your smile, your laugh, your energy is infectious. I love that you're the first interview I'm doing of the day, because I'm going to go off on a high. But I would love to know, usually I can speak, but apparently I've lost the tongue. What advice would you give to your 10-year-old self? It can be business, it can be life, it can be any type of advice that you feel you wish you were given at 10.
Yes. Here's what I would say to my 10-year-old self. I know, and this is everyone, right? It's like, I know there are a lot of things that you think are wrong with you. And I know that you believe that you can't quite have as great of a life as other people, but you're absolutely wrong. You can accomplish and achieve and do absolutely anything you want. And if there's anything that tells you otherwise, get rid of it. Get rid of the thoughts, get rid of the beliefs, and gently say goodbye to any people in your life who would say anything other than what you want to be possible.
Got chills because that's such important advice. Even if we're 10 to 20 to 30 to 50, 70 years old, we
Yep.
need to hear that. Molly, as I just taken that advice, I'm going to jump off stage here, give you the floor to let my audience know where they can find you, follow you, connect with you, because apparently you have masterful quotes that you can drop on us and make us all re-question life. So while I go re-question my life, and that
Okay.
I'm going to let you tell the audience where they can find you.
Okay, yes. So definitely check out the Masterful Coach podcast. And you can go to mollyclaire.com to see all the things. I don't know, when this is airing, what will be front and center on my website. I offer a holistic master coach training and certification program, which is phenomenal. I offer a certification program for leaders and entrepreneurs, and you can check everything out there. And I do speaking engagements as well. And so please, please, if you are interested in having me come to your event, I love it. You can just email my team at mollyclaire.com, and we'll take care of you. I can't hear you. Can everyone else hear you?
It's because I muted myself because, like a professional podcaster, I always know to check before going on mute. I was just testing you to see if you would do that. But yeah, Molly, thank you so much for being an amazing guest and bringing such positive energy to the episode. You were fantastic.
Thank you so much for having me.
To my audience, make sure you check out the show notes down below so that you can connect with Molly. Check out her podcast because it's now just been primed on mine, so I can learn some more stuff, and as well connect with her in the show notes down below. I thank you for listening, Molly. Thank you again for being here, and as always, remember to invest in yourself.